Hello friends, welcome back to BlockTribe. In this video, we'll be learning about loops in Solidity. Loops in Solidity are similar to any other programming languages like C++ or Python. So just explaining the basic difference between for loops and while loops. For loop runs for a definite condition. Basically, we know how many iterations this particular loop is going for, whereas while loop runs on a specific condition. Basically, it would fulfill this condition, and whenever this I gets bigger than this 3, it would break the loop. So now you might have a question like, what does do while loop do? Difference between while loop and do while is basically when the condition enters into while loop, it checks this condition, whereas in do while loop it runs one iteration and then at the end it checks for this particular condition whether it fulfills or no. So in cases where you want to run one iteration and then check for the conditions, you need to use do while, whereas conditions where you want to directly check the condition and run it, you can use while loops. So that's the basic difference. So now let's hop on to the code and check how to use each one of the loops, so you can have a fair idea of what I'm trying to say. So let's start by for loops. To declare for loops, we need to have a function. You say sum, and you say call it as public. Yeah, that's it for the function. And then what do you do is you just simply call the for loop for, and it would be uint I equals to 0, and then it would be I smaller than 5, or you can take 10, then you say I plus plus, and yep. So okay, one more thing which you want to do is you can, let's create a uint public result, and yep, that's it, uint public result. Now what you do is you just simply result equals to result plus I. So this is it. Now, so what I've done is basically I've created a public result which is of uint type, and I've created a function sum. Now what this would do, it would run to 10 iterations of this, and it would just simply do a sum of all the 10 iterations. So let's go ahead and deploy. Now when we go here, we see two functions. One is sum and one is result, because we have created as public. Now let's hit sum and then let's hit on result. So it says 45. So if you do a sum of 10 iterations, it would give you a result of 45. Now if I hit it once more sum and then do a result, it would be 90, because now the value of result has been 45. So when the other loop, when you call this function again, so the value of result, initial value of result is 45, and 45 plus 45, 90. Now let's so similar way, let's look at a while loop, and for while loops you just need to do is while, and you just keep it as result smaller than 45, and okay, you need to create uint public I, and what do you do is basically just increase the value of I plus plus. Where is the plus plus? Yeah, yep. So now what you do is I'll go ahead and deploy this. Now when we deploy this, we see three things created. One is result, I, and sum. Now what I'm trying to do here is I have created a condition and I have created a I, which is basically it, you will put some values in it, and okay, let's define it to 5 and then go ahead and deploy. When you say I, result would be okay, you do a sum and result would be 45. Now when I do again an sum, now you see the difference between for loop and while loop, right? When I ran for loop for twice, it started giving me result as 90, whereas when I ran the while loop twice, the sum remained the same 45, because I have put a condition here which says result should not be greater than 45, and it won't run this condition. So basically I'm trying to run this function, but the result is already 45, right? So it won't even let it enter into this loop. So whenever I'll hit result, how many times if I hit sum and result, it would always give 45, because it is not entering into this particular code. Now this is the basic difference between a while and a for loop. Similarly, let's look into do whiles. So how just simply modify this into do and cut this condition from here, bring it to here while, and you just place this condition here, and yeah, that's it. You don't need to do anything. Now what happens is when I run this sum, right, it would do a result plus I, and then it would check the condition. Now let's look at this. Let's do a deploy. Now when I do a deploy, this I value is 5. When I do a sum, it would be 45. Now when I again do a sum, it would be 56, because so the result is 45 and 45 plus, so result is already 45 from the last loop, and 45 plus I has become now 11, because there are now 6 iterations which have gone here, because it's a 5, right? The I value is 5. Now there are 6 iterations. I value has gone up to 11. So when we when we run our second loop of this, it checks, it does not check the condition, it straight away goes 45 plus 11 and it makes it to 56, and then it does a I plus plus, and when it checks the condition, it is already above 45, so it breaks and it shows 56. And similar way, if I do it once more, if I run it, it would be 68. Now 68 is what? 56 plus 12. So I value has been 12 now. So this is how we use loops in Solidity. That's all on loops in Solidity. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section below. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe. It takes a lot of hard work to create such videos. Thank you all.